Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time, thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Well, welcome to New Life Live. Larry Sonnenburg sitting in for Steve today, and I'm blessed here with Dr. Sheri Keffer.
Hey, good to be with you.
Good to be here with you, too, and Dr. Alice Benton.
Hi, and hi, everybody out there.
You know, I just got to thinking, it's the 19th of November already. We're just 9 days away from Thanksgiving, and I'm probably not going to be on radio again with you two before Thanksgiving, unless something funny happens. And wanted to talk to you about Thanksgiving. Tell me what you like about it and what a tradition is.
Well, I do love traditions, and I like this year that I'm flying my mom out to be with me, with our family. So it's always good to just,
Where from?
She's in Arizona. Okay. So, so we're going to cook a turkey and...
You're giving that secret away to the Club New Lifers.
Sorry, you guys are going to have to listen to this. We have kind of a fun thing coming up for y'all. But yeah, it's just fun getting together, making a memory. Because you know what? You don't know if you're going to have next year to make that memory. My mom's 83, and I don't know that I'm going to get the chance to have her again. So you maximize your moments when you have them, and there you have it. What about you, Alice?
I say you can't load on enough gravy. I'm a gravy gal. I have an aunt that started a tradition for us where she buys blessed bread, and we pass it around. Everybody takes a piece, and we all express a prayer of gratitude.
Oh, that's cool. Mm-hmm. I like that. I like Thanksgiving because there's no gifts. There's no expectations for anything other than good food. And it's a time to meet with your family, as dysfunctional as they can be. And I'm so grateful for Steve's advice years ago that look for the opportunity to have detached entertainment. Because when somebody wants to go off on some area you don't want to go off on, whether it's politics or religion or how you do this or that, you can just pretend like you're in a sitcom and pretend it's fun. And it can be fun. So, but what a wonderful tradition to stop and give thanks. I mean, Scripture is full of gratitude, and we're just told to have a spirit of gratitude. And so I just love that. I want to encourage you to help us with our scholarship fund. It's been dipping low. A few of you have been giving, and I want to say thank you for that. But we still need an infusion. We don't want to close the year not having money to help people get to our workshops. And speaking of workshops, the next one coming up is Every Man's Battle in Denver, Colorado. And so on that note, too, I forgot I've got a testimony here.
Well, and I want to say one thing in light of that, Larry. I mean, maybe this year as a tradition and honoring God and your thankfulness for your family is give a donation to somebody's family who's really struggling right now through helping them go to a workshop. I mean, there's nothing as beautiful as a game changer to help somebody get into one of our workshops so that their transformation can begin. And, it's kind of weird. We all go home at the end of the day and we put our head on our pillow and sometimes things are good and we don't think about what's happening in somebody else's home. And if that's one of you and you're listening and you want to thank God, then this Thanksgiving give a donation towards that fund, right?
I wish I had thought of that.
I just thought of it when you're talking about it because I thought it's a gift of gratitude.
Yeah,
right?
It is. It is a gift of gratitude. And what our workshops do and how God works through them is amazing. And when we come back right after the break, just before our first call, I'm going to read a testimony from a man that recently went to one of our Every Man's Battle workshops. And I hope it encourages you guys to pick up the phone and call. Or wives, you pick up the phone and find out about it and tell your husband he's got to get his little behind there because they need it. We'll be right back.
I feel blessed to have had this opportunity for my needs to be met. connecting with other women who are fighting the same fight, hoping for healthy marriages and growing closer to the Lord on their journey.
My name is Sheri Martinkus, and I want to personally invite you to the Restore Workshop. If you have been affected by betrayal, it might be that your husband has been looking at pornography, it might be an emotional, a physical affair. I would love for you to come join us.
I feel encouraged and hopeful that even in my struggle, I am enough.
You will leave with hope, with a community of sisters ready to support you, and you will also leave with tools to move you forward on this journey.
Through the sharing in our small group, I realize that I am not alone.
Please don't hesitate. Pick up the phone, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. I would love to see you there.
The Restore Workshop is coming to Southern California February 28th to March the 1st. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Okay, we're back. And just before going to our call, I want to read what closing thoughts were from one of our Every Man's Battle attendees recently. He said, God brought me here through my wife's discovery of my destructive, addictive behavior. And then he described some of that behavior, which I don't think is appropriate to talk about on this call. I learned about myself this weekend. Parts I never knew existed. Parts I knew existed and were afraid to tell anyone. It hurt. Men I never met before listened, cared, shared, hugged, and loved me this weekend. God touched parts of my lost heart through my fellow brothers. This weekend has offered hope, redemption, recovery. God is good. This weekend saved my life. And guys, if that's not an encouragement to you, I don't know what could be. I just want to ask you, pick up the phone, call 800-NEW-LIFE, and I don't know what else to say. You got to be there. You'll get reconnected with God, others, and yourself. You'll learn about yourself, things you never guessed. The last workshop, at the beginning of the workshop, I told the guys they're going to get something out of this they never thought of before or expected. At the end of the workshop, I asked, they look at me kind of smiling, not there, wondering what I'm saying. The end of the workshop, how many of you got something different than what you expected? Like 90% of the hands went up, because God works that way.
And if you've done something that we couldn't even mention on air, just know we've heard it. We've heard it all.
That's right.
And you'd be welcome with that, and we can help with that. Yeah. There's nothing to be too ashamed of that to not come, because we've heard it all, and you'd be welcome.
And it's a no-shame zone. Okay, we're going to go talk to Josh, Jacksonville, Florida. And Josh, how can we help you today?
Hi, thanks for taking my call. I was actually on my lunch break, and I heard the previous show, and the caller almost had a very similar situation that I did. And so I called and basically just wanted to ask you guys some advice. It's about me and my relationship with my wife. I've been married about 3 years. It's very strange. So I've been a believer since I've been like 12. Kind of non-denominational. I just try to follow Christ. I've learned a lot over the years, and it's very interesting to me and deep to my heart. And it's exciting to me. I mean, actually reading about Jesus and what he did, and just, it's very exciting to me. It's like...
Okay, so I I understand that now. What's your issue? Why did you call us?
But my wife, she is not a believer. I don't even know how to describe her. She kind of was brought up in a Catholic school, and then she's not from this country, and her parents aren't really religious. So anyway, she has this kind of worldview that like all religions are pointing to the same God, and she's very into like world things, as far as she loves the Real Housewives shows. She stays up to date with what Hollywood is out about, and I'm not saying that to judge her. I'm just saying that the problem we're having is that I don't have like an intimacy with her, and I feel like the more I try to suppress my own spirituality and move over to her to try to be a good husband, it's just, I don't think it's going to be sustainable for me to do. And she is definitely, from what I can tell, not, because it comes from her family. Maybe it's a hurt feeling inside. She's never going to deny. She's going to always stay the way she believes. I think it's like a comfort zone. So I'm just trying to figure out how to approach it.
So can I ask?
I'm really not trying to convert her or anything.
Well, but you weren't converting her when you were dating her either. So what prompted you to marry a non-believer?
So, to be honest, our relationship was very, it was mostly based on attraction at first. And even though I was praying the whole time, what I've learned, I have a bad habit of doing sometimes, is putting God's name on things that maybe I shouldn't. But I kind of was like, she's such a sweet person, has a sweet heart, and she never completely denies Christ. It's more of a worldview. Like, she still says that she prays to Jesus, but at the same time, she's just.
But I'm wanting to know. I'm reeling the time back, right? When you chose to marry her as a non-believer, you made that commitment to her. So,
right.
What are you saying? That you were sexually attracted to her?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Were you guys having sex?
Yes.
Okay. So you were having sex with a non-believer, and she was really sweet. And so you made a
So basically, what I'm trying to find out is, I from the Bible, I think I know that I'm in a ungodly relationship. So does that mean I need to get out, or does that mean that God wants me to stay in it and, reap what I sow?
So you married an unbelieving spouse, your choice.
Yeah, I just told you that.
Right, but I'm telling you that. So you chose.
You don't need to. I already know that. My question to you is, what do I do now?
You love your unbelieving spouse. You love her like Jesus loved the world. That's what you've committed to.
It's not a license to leave the marriage.
No, I'm not asking that. I'm just saying.
What do you do with your disappointment? How do you deal with the disappointment and loss around the ache in your heart? Because there's really a difference between your experience with a believer and then being with an unbeliever. It's kind of like you're waking up.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's what I'm struggling with.
Yeah. And so where I would say that's going to move you is grief and loss. You're going to have to grieve the dream that you had about marriage and what you thought it might look like if you had married a believer, because that wasn't your choice. And you're going to have to begin to lay that at the feet of the cross.
And I think if you love her, and if you really work on knowing her woundedness, knowing her childhood, knowing the little girl that God gave you to care for, that you might learn some things about her, and she might come around to maybe understanding some things that you do that she doesn't. I would not give up hope that you're going to be unhappy the rest of your marriage.
No, I'm not saying that. It's just a struggle, and I'm just kind of calling to see if you guys have any suggestions, more than I can do.
Totally. It's a lot of loss.
Very careful. I don't want to come across to her as I have to be careful. Even I don't preach at her. I don't, I just don't, because I don't want to. I've been around those people. I don't want to be that type of person.
Josh, I wonder.
To be very gentle with it.
I wonder if you go too far in that way. You talked about suppressing your spirituality, and I don't think you should suppress it. I don't think you should force it on her either, which it doesn't sound like you're doing. But inviting her to join you in that side of your life, she can decline. But I think God has you there for a reason, even if it started with a decision that was not perhaps in alignment with God's will, He'll still meet you there, and He'll equip you to love her and to be a conduit of His love to her. God needs you to do that, since God uses us to minister to His people, and she's His daughter, and He loves her deeply. So I think there's a couple things you can do to work on your internal conflict that you feel. And one is privately with you and God, maybe with safe men in your life, work on forgiving her for not being a believer. Because I think you resent her for that.
I don't have a problem with that.
Okay,
but forgiving her, I don't even hold it against her. I just
I think there's something else there, Josh.
Semantics.
I think that there is something else there, and it's okay if I'm wrong.
No, I get it. I guess my question is something I struggle with. Maybe I didn't word this right. And I'm not saying this because I want to leave. I know God can use all things for His glory. So just because this relationship started out in sin, that's in the past. I'm forgiven for that. We're forgiven for that. It's from this day forward. Is that right?
Of course.
Josh, David in the Bible is a great example of this. Think about how he and Bathsheba started through murder and lying and premarital sex. And yet God used both of them and then one of their children later in part of the lineage of Jesus. Oh, yeah, God can so easily bless your marriage and bring it into the sacred marriage that God because God redeems. He redeems
what
marriages.
Was the second thing? You said there were two things.
Asking her forgiveness that you didn't respect your wife enough before marriage to not pursue her sexually.
Right.
I think that will bring healing, and that will bring you two closer together.
But I want to honor. Yeah. I want to honor your pain. And you know what I would do? You might feel like I'm asking you to do something that doesn't make sense, but I want you to take your hurt and I want you to take it either to a counselor or a spiritual director that can really help you begin to grieve the loss of what you don't have, so that you're not ignoring it, you're not minimizing it, you're actually honoring what you let go of. And you didn't even realize how important it was going to be at that time. Because if we try to bury it and not look at it, it just keeps popping up in front of us. But when you actually start grieving it and working towards letting that expectation go, there can be some freedom for you on the other side of that.
And when we all come to points in our marriage where we're no longer physically or sexually attracted to our spouses, because I think that's just inevitable in the different seasons of life that we go through, we need to take that to God and to our safe people and confess, I don't even want to be intimate with my husband, with my wife, because through the confession and the request of prayers from other believers, God can change our hearts and He can give us back desire that we have lost.
So, Josh, I want to send you Sacred Marriage. I think that's a book that will speak to you and your heart and will make a difference. And I want to thank you for calling.
Yeah, what a vulnerable, honest call.
Yeah.
It was great.
I want to go and talk to Dennis from, can't read that, South Carolina. He listens on Sirius XM. How can we help you, Dennis?
Hey, thank you for taking my call. I have a question more in regards to what can I do with my spouse besides just going to church and to create more intimacy with Christ that will build intimacy together, that we could do together, just more than just going to church, more than just getting up on Sunday, going to church and doing the routine.
Dennis, in addition to that, what would you say are maybe two of the other best things you do to create spiritual intimacy, emotional intimacy with your wife?
And see, that's the thing is that to me, that's all we do. We just get up and we go to church. We enjoy listening to the music, But other than that, if we're just sitting around, it just seems run of the mill. It doesn't seem like there's much joy to it to do things more together that would help us grow together in the intimacy with Christ. You know, we don't do devotions together. We just go to church. I mean, I don't have that. We don't have that together.
How about starting there? How about telling your wife, I want to do devotions together,
we have. I've bought a couple of devotional books, and you read them, and they're just not like, to me, they don't address the needs of a marriage couple together. They're all over the place.
Can I ask a question, and then we'll come back after the break?
Sure.
So what do you do to love her? Let's take spirituality out of it for a second. I mean, what do you do to enjoy her, to care for her, to dig on her,
to woo her?
I don't know. I don't really think about that.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Totally. So I think what's happening is you're trying to spiritualize an emotional connection.
There you go.
And so we want to help give you some resources when you come back, because if you try to hit an emotional issue with a spiritual answer, you're going to end up frustrated all day long. So let's help you develop emotional intimacy first.
Perfect. So you hold the line. We'll come back and have a couple of ideas for you, and we'll keep on with the calls coming right back.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
You guys are awesome. You're a blessing to America.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, please call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Okay, we're back. We're speaking with Dennis, and he wants to strengthen his marriage. He is kind of struggling, and Sheri made a good point that he's looking at a spiritual solution, and it's really an emotional issue to work on. So, Sheri, keep going with that.
So, you know what? I'm going to give you some really practical things, and they might feel kind of awkward to do after 18 years, right? Especially if it's not something that you and your wife have been pursuing. But just like any habit, like any change, this can help point you guys to just try something different. So if I was sitting with you, I would say, all right, Dennis, what I want you to do this Friday night, I want you to take your shekels and I want you to go to your closest mall or store. I want you to go to where the fragrances are, where the cologne and the perfume is, and I want you guys to sniff away. I just want you to walk around and sniff at all these different fragrances. And then I want you guys to pick one out for each other. I want her to go, oh my goodness, this smells really good. I'd really like you to wear this. And then I want you to find the same thing for her. Then I want you to wear that fragrance for the next month and just see what it's like to smell each other in a new way, in a different way. So, and then what do you think about that?
Well, yeah, well, that's interesting, but we always have fragrances that we have together. So
I know, but you know what? I'm trying to shake it up because it's
right.
interesting, right? I would have you guys do some very practical things, but when you say interesting, let me tell you how I feel. I was like, that's really a dumb idea, right? and maybe it is a dumb idea for you, but I'm thinking about things like. Do you guys hold hands?
No.
Okay. So
we haven't held for years.
Okay. So you haven't, are you having sex?
No, we haven't for
how long, my friend? A long time.
Yes, a long time.
Okay. You know what I want you to do? I really want you to come to our intimacy intensive with your wife. That's the third thing I would add on, because y'all need an overhaul. It's kind of like y'all have a car that's been sitting in your garage for at least a decade and a half, and the tires are flat, and there is the inside of it is moth-eaten, and nobody's even lifted the hood for a while. Y'all aren't even touching. And so I really, really want you guys to get some help for that, because y'all have become roommates.
Yeah.
Alice, you have a couple of things.
Well, Dennis, it sounds like there's both a surface level problem and then there's probably a much deeper problem. Whether it's significant pain between the two of you, something that happened to break trust or to push you apart, or it could just be time. But something may be holding you back from pursuing your wife. So we want you to try the surface level things, and if you find that you just can't, they're so stupid, they're so weird, you just can't do them, then that points to me to the deeper problem that's holding you back. So I want you to try asking your wife every day, tell me the best part of your day, and tell me the worst part of your day. And then you tell yours to her too, whether or not she asks you, and even if she doesn't want to answer, because you might come against some pushback from her as you just start to change things for the first time. Then I want you to pick out 3 activities she enjoys, whether you enjoy them or not, and offer them to her, telling her, I'm going to take you on a date, and I want you to pick one of these 3 things. What would you like us to do? And even if she says no, ask again the next week. You might have to warm her up a bit to any romantic advances from you.
And then I have a question based on Alice's incredible wisdom. Is there sexual abuse in either one of your histories? Were either one of you sexually violated early on?
I don't know about her, but not for me.
Okay. Did either one of you get really missed in your family of origin? Did either one of you have, grow up in an addictive home, or maybe where parents really didn't notice you, where you felt insignificant, like you didn't matter?
Like I said, not in mine. I don't know about hers. I had a great childhood. I mean,
okay, this is telling me a lot. This is telling me you don't know your wife the way you should know her. If you don't know things about her past that Sheri asked you, you need to know it, and she needs to be asked that, and you need to love her on it, and you need to help her get help if she needs help. And I would encourage you. I want to send you 2 books. I'm going to send you How We Love, and we're going to send you the.
I have that book.
You have that one? We're going to send you, we'll send you 1 book, and send you the Mediterranean Love Plan. There's a lot of practical things there that you'll learn and things you can do to restore and renew your relationship.
I love how Dennis called us and was brave to say, what can I do? Right, he started trying to fix this spiritual issue. But the issue is really long-term disconnect.
Yep.
And it can feel really clumsy and awkward to then start learning how to connect, but they may need a third party. And if you are like Dennis and you guys have been roommates for a long time, there's no shame in asking a counselor, like one of our counselors,
and,
to help.
And you mentioned the workshop, the Intimacy and Marriage Workshop.
It is a great kickstart.
Dennis, that's the next one is Valentine's Day weekend here in Orange County, California. And it's not too early to sign up. You get an early bird discount.
Woohoo!
And I mean, it changes things. Your marriage isn't so serious. You know, a lot of times we talk about these marriages that are just on the rocks, horrible. But you don't have to have that kind of marriage to go to this workshop. You can get it tuned up and better. We'll be back right after this.
She said, we need to talk. She's asked me for the first time if I would consider myself a sex addict. You know, I thought it was just about admitting the things that I had done wrong. I never had a clue that it was about redeeming our story. You know, I thought it was just about coming clean on what I had done. I had no idea how to help her with her pain. She was a mess, I was a mess, and we got divorced. Going to EMB, surrounding myself with these other men, they accepted me for who I was and what I had done, but they challenged me to step up and do better. You know, they'll be around other men who are not just pointing the finger, but willing to get in and wade through it with them, you know, get in the trenches. They'll get hope from this workshop. Take my sweet wife and my story. We were divorced, remarried, and on our way to what I think will be the sweetest years of our lives. You know, it's no longer simply about surviving. For the first time ever, you know, we're thriving, we're enjoying where we're at.
Hey, listen, if you're struggling, we want to see you at the workshop. Give us a call, 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I turned on New Life, and the topic that day was about anxiety. And just by listening, I got relief.
You can help New Life Live stay in the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you a set of 4 devotionals, 100 Days of Character, Peace, Prayer, and the newly released 100 Days of Healing. Plus, there are ongoing benefits like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops.
I did go to Take Your Life Back. That's been immensely helpful to me. That's why I continue to support the ministry with the hope that not only am I helping my own situation, that I'm helping others as well.
Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Okay, we're back. Thanks for listening to New Life. We're going to get a couple more calls in here. Let's go talk to Denise. Denise is in Dallas, listens on the Word, KWRD. Hello, Denise. How can we help you?
Hi, thanks for taking my call. I had a question, and some of it was touched on one of the previous callers, which has kind of got my heart beating a little fast, thinking that I heard it said that maybe I have to mourn the death of what I thought my marriage was going to be. And so my question is, I feel like my marriage has turned into something more of like a codependency enabling situation. Me and my husband have been together for 10 years, married almost 4. He is not a breadwinner. He's not a leader. He is a believer, but pretty much everything church-related is, quote, lame to him, and so he kind of steers away from it. There is a lot of good accountability in his life from the men at church whom he's bonded with, but somewhat he just seems to make an excuse on why he doesn't continue to reach out to these guys or meet up with them when they invite him to do things and hang out. I think that my husband may be struggling with alcoholism because he's not like a fall-over drunk type of person. He thinks that it's not an addiction. There have been times in the past where he has admitted to it being an addiction, but then he, takes it back when it's, convenient for him or when he wants to drink. And because I am the breadwinner, and I have been the breadwinner for pretty much the 10 years we've been together, it's kind of hard for me to not kind of be controlling or to because I have to relinquish money. I don't want to make him feel less than or emasculate him, but he's very bad. Yeah, he's very bad at handling the money, and so my question is, I don't understand how to help him without enabling him or being manipulated into helping him.
You said you're the breadwinner. Is he working?
He has not had stable employment. So he's working now, but he always does things to manipulate his job situation. And then he'll lose it. And then he won't get another one for a year or two or a few months. And it's never stable. Like in over 10 years, it's probably been 1 year has been the length of his longest job.
And do you have children together?
We have 2 children.
So what does he do to manipulate? I mean, there's a pattern here, right? That he continues to do this manipulation. He's been let go a lot of times. So what's the manipulation that he does? Just so we get a feel for that.
The manipulation to me?
No, to the job, to the employer.
To the job. Okay, so the previous employer, he was let go. He blamed it on being in a verbal altercation with one of the guys who was a longtime employee. And he said, well, they sided with him over me, so I was let go.
So he blames a lot. He blames a lot.
He does blame a lot.
Okay, that's called blame shifting. Quick question. How much gaming does he do? How much time does he spend in gaming and the internet and all that stuff?
Gaming, not so much. Internet is fairly often.
Okay.
I don't know how much because I'm a full-time employee, but it's pretty often.
So he's on the internet a lot at home. You don't know what he's doing.
Right. Or he's talking to friends or whatever. So yeah, he kind of busies himself with other people, like being with company of friends or, talking on the phone.
Talking to friends. What kind of friends? Like, because if he's getting let go from jobs, are we talking, what kind of friends is he talking to?
Yeah, I mean, he has a good mixture of friends, but it seems as if he still flocks, and we've moved around, but it seems like he just flocks to the same type of friend. And although he has other friends who are doing the things that he wants to do, he still spends the majority of his time with the friend who's also an alcoholic and who's not married and who doesn't have kids, versus the friends who will hold him accountable, the friends who are working, the friends who are also married.
And Denise, when you've expressed your concern about the state of affairs and asked for the two of you to go and get help together, how does he respond to you?
We just recently did that with our pastor. It didn't last. He was kind of guarded, but he did go. He just felt like I was telling on him. Was how he put it. Like he felt like I was just airing our business, and as if nothing is.
So then he blame shifted again. I want you to hear a concept I'm talking about. It's called blame shifting. It happens when somebody doesn't want to take control or take responsibility over their bad behavior. So they make it your problem so they can stay irresponsible. He's doing that with you. It's kind of like you have an addicted adolescent, really, who keeps getting into these altercations at work because he's using, but then you're like his mom. You're like his mom that just kind of picks up the pieces again and just is there to love him.
So what should she be doing?
I think the pastor was a good start, and it's hopeful to me that he went to see the pastor. That's a good sign. But I imagine your marriage needs something of a more skilled relationship expert to help you with these underlying patterns that are here. So I'd have you ask him, again, thank you so much for going to see that pastor. And I want to go back to see a counselor now that can help us. And Denise, I want you to kind of tell on yourself that you can point out, I don't know how to handle all of this. And sometimes I really annoy you with the attempts that I make or the way that I talk to the pastor. But I do know that this needs to be different. I need help too. Would you try it again? Would you go back with me again? What do you imagine he would say?
We can't afford it. That's probably what he would say.
So now he's in victim position. Okay, so I'm going to be really straight with you, honey, because I love you. We love you here at New Life, right? I think you're in denial. I think you're in denial, not because you want to be, but because you don't know what else to do. I think when you say, I don't want to emasculate him, I want to say, Denise, he's emasculating himself. But somehow you've gotten your wires crossed. You're working too hard to try to have him grow up and act like a man. And so you are walking on eggshells around him, not wanting him to be upset or be in the victim position. And you must be exhausted. Are you just tired?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. And so I want you today to drive to an Al-Anon meeting because you're dealing with somebody who is a functional alcoholic and who's not wanting help. And then I want you to take some of your hard-earned shekels, girl, and I want you to stay on the line, and I want us to find somebody, one of our New Life counselors in your area, and you're going to need to be seen by that counselor. You're going to need somebody that's going to help get you out of denial into reality about what's happening in your world, because it's not a pretty picture.
And so when your husband says we can't afford it, I think you insist, we can't afford not to do this. And I'm going anyhow, so I sure hope that you come with me because I want you to be able to speak for yourself and be heard. And then let him know when the appointment time is.
I think maybe the book to send her keying in on the alcoholic aspect of this is Understanding and Loving a Person with Drug and Alcohol Addiction. There's other marriage books we could send, other relational books. But if you're going to be going to Al-Anon and dealing with that aspect of his character or lack of it, I think that might be the book for you.
Yeah, and this is not a book we carry, but I want you to get on Amazon and I want you to order the book by Melody Beattie called Codependent No More. Because that is going to help you see how you've grown into enabling with him and become complicit with his problem. Because if you're there, then your family's not going to change.
Thank you for calling, Denise.
Yeah, so proud of her.
I want to see if Lynn can ask us the question before the break, and then we'll get back to her right after. Lynn, thanks for calling New Life. How can we help you?
Yeah, so I have a question. I want to know whether or not it is just me or is it my husband. We get into arguments about his roving eyes, and he says I'm just being overly dramatic, and I'm at wit's end because I don't know when to say something, when not to say something to him, and I'm just looking for some answers.
And it's been going on for a while.
Well, yeah.
And we'll be right back right after this.
My wife had found me out and came home one weekend. She had revealed my secret. The only reason I was sorry at that time is because I had been caught. I had had the Every Man's Battle book for years and pulled that book out that weekend and found the phone number on the back and called it, and then a week later I was at Every Man's Battle. It really gave me the start I needed for my recovery. I never had that opportunity to sit down with guys I didn't even know and totally open up. The good thing was I was opening up to guys I didn't even know. So why did I care? Just lay it all out on the table. I have nothing to lose. You need to check it out. At least go online, check out what it's about, and take the chance and go do it.
If you're struggling, call us. There are people on the other end of the line who want to hear from you, who want to help you. We don't want you to go on struggling, but you got to take that first step. Just give us a call. It's 1-800-639-5433. It's 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again. You seem to be able to get to the crux of a problem quickly.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for you and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly, and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-639-5433.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Okay, we're back. We're talking to Lynn. Lynn, just let me ask you again, how long has this been going on with your husband with his eyes wandering?
Forever. We've been married 37 years, so it's always been a problem.
Okay.
Lynn, has the problem gone deeper to pornography use or an affair on his part?
No, I don't think that he's into porn. I think he's kind of shifted originally into porn and then on the internet. And then at first it was magazines, and now then he switched to the internet, and then he went to things like Instagram, pulling up women, Facebook.
So, Lynn, do emotional connections, inappropriate emotional connections with other women continue?
No, I would say no. I don't believe that there's any emotional connection to women, just he has had some inappropriate actions with women, yes. Got fired from a job once for that.
So my dear Lynn, guess what? You were listening to our last caller, weren't you? You know what I think's going? Were you listening by chance?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You know what? I'm worried about you.
Mm-hmm.
You know why?
I'm not really sure.
Okay, I think you're in denial, too. I think you're in denial.
I don't think that I'm in denial because I always confront him on his issues.
Okay, yeah, but he has issues. I'm telling you, if he was started with porn with magazines, went to the internet, now he's on Instagram or whatever, he's hooked on porn. He's hooked on other women. He's got a big problem.
Yeah, well,
and you can't say he doesn't.
He's not. And I think my issue is that I think it was greater level originally.
No, it doesn't go down.
Well, Lynn, did he get
Instagram?
Lynn, did he get help for the pornography? Structured help.
He didn't get any help, but no, not any structured help. But I mean, he is born again. He loves the Lord. He's prayed.
Can I come
God
back?
To deliver him in some areas.
Can I come back in, Lynn? What's the benefit of you not looking more deeply into this? How is that benefiting you? I'm really scared.
Well,
I'm scared for you. I'm being as honest as I can, and let me tell you why. If there was a termite infestation in your home, and there were fresh termites eating the walls away, and I came into your home because I've lived a life with termites in my walls, and I said, "Hey, Lynn, you have got termites in your house," and you looked at me and said, "Sheri, we used to have termites," and I'd look at the walls cracking open, and I'd say, "Honey, but right here, look," and you'd say, "No, Sheri, I don't have termites." I'd look at you and I'd say, "Lynn, I am so scared because there's a lot happening under your house," and what is the fear to admitting that he's out of control right now?
Well, it's not that I have a fear that he's out of control. I think I want him to know whether or not he has an issue. I don't think he's on Instagram. He's deleted that from his phone. He's not. I could check his computer at any time. I have passwords. So it's not like he's hiding in those areas.
He is.
What I call.
So I'm going to ask.
I would know if that was the case, because I know how to look on his computer.
Not if you're in denial. Not if you're in denial, dear one.
I'm not in denial.
Okay. Well, guess what? Yeah. I think you're in denial about being in denial, and I am so trying to love you right now. I am scared for you, and I'm scared for your home. And this is why. Because the very fact that he is rubbernecking right now, and the very fact that he is gaslighting you, gaslighting is a term that's used where they make you believe, when he said, you're being overly dramatic, right? You're confronting him on it, and what he does is he turns it around and makes it about you. That's called gaslighting.
Yeah.
And the very
what he says is he says that I'm accusing him of things that he's not doing, and I say, why would I want to accuse you of that? Do I do that? I mean, I don't understand. I'm not accusing you of something. I'm just confronting you on bad behavior.
I understand. And then, but he spins it about you. I have a chapter in my book called Gaslighting, Blame, and Deception. Oh my! And my book is called Intimate Deception: Healing the Wounds of Sexual Betrayal. You might crack it open and you might say, "Nope, Sheri was wrong. I don't want to read this book. I'm going to even maybe not open it or maybe throw it away." But all I'm asking, my dear, for your sake, for the love of God, please consider reading it.
Well, I want to add, too, that it's a harsh thing to think that your husband has an addiction to porn. But if he does, and I believe he does, I know that addicts are liars. They hide. They don't want you to know. They want to stay in relationship with you, but they don't want you to know their dark, dirty little secrets. And they're hurt. They're little boys inside, and they don't know what to do, and they stay at it, and they get deeper and deeper. And if you would insist upon anything, insist upon him going to the Every Man's Battle workshop. And the next one is just a couple of weeks away in Denver, Colorado. And I'm telling you, it will change. If he goes there with a willing, even if it's not a willing spirit, if he goes there, I think he will find not just men that love him, he will find no shame in anything that's happened. He'll reveal things he's never revealed to another person in his life. And if he'll do those things, which guys do all the time, he'll come back a different person. And he will love you differently. He won't be looking at other women. Things will change. It's hard to hear that, and it's hard to think that your husband would do anything like that and would be involved with anything like porn. But if he was doing porn early and it escalated from magazines to internet
to Instagram
to who knows what else, he's hiding it, and he needs to come clean, and he will at Every Man's Battle.
And the rubbernecking is evidence that there's stuff going on, Alice.
Well, Jesus sets the standard for us here. Matthew 5:28, where he tells us if we're even looking at another person lustfully with our eyes, we've already crossed the line. So your husband's unwillingness to hear your heart and your concern is part of what concerns us so much. Maybe we're wrong, but we've talked with so many addicts that we know without strong, structured professional intervention, this just doesn't go away on its own. And just praying it away tends to not be sufficient either. We need more help than this. So Lynn, you have every right to request that he get help for looking at other women, because it is a problem.
And when two people are in denial, when he's in denial over his acting out and she's in denial over what is happening, it's a setup for a lot of bad juju. So I'm glad we have workshops here at New Life that can address those things and help wake people up to how they're doing things that are hurting themselves and others.
We're going to send you Intimate Deception, and I know that'll help you, and I just pray that you'll take to heart what we've said. I want to thank you for listening to New Life Live. We love what we do. We need your support. If you would make a gift, we would love it, especially to our scholarship fund right now. I want to leave you with this verse from Micah 6:8. It's one of my favorites. He has shown you, O man, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you? to act justly and to love mercy and to walk humbly with your God. We hope you'll do that day to day. We hope that you'll do some self-examination. Take a look at your heart. Take a look at what life is doing. Pause for a minute and just think once in a while, and get off the internet, get off the phone, and just pause and have a moment of silence with God and listen to see what He's saying to you. We talk too much and we don't listen enough. Hope you have a good day. We'll be back tomorrow. God bless.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.